They can play anything. It's not just a cheese. It's a well-rounded OG lineup we see now. They can play anything.
Yeah, you're not necessarily going to be able to counteract OG in the first 1-2 bans and picks. I think that's just a little bit too much of a dream. They have too many key heroes now, and they've showcased so much strength in every single one of them that, you know, you ban away one hero, another hero is going to be too strong for them to handle. For example, this Earthshaker from Moonmeander, he was the MVP of the series.
Yeah, really stepping up in the game against Evil Geniuses. This is the final game, of course, which takes them to the grand final. It was, I mean, it was a great all-round team game, but a performance by every single player on the team as well.
Yeah, again, I think the Tusk was really a key component for them, but they didn't necessarily show too much flexibility in their drafts. I think it was more the versatility that they played it. Like the Wisp Tiny, who we thought was gonna maybe have some problems versus the Brood Mother, they managed to handle that lane quite well. We've seen his Alchemist adapt to so many different situations that they can play the same draft over and over and still beat many different types of lineups.
I think a decent example would be in this 5th pick scenario, or this last game 3 where they banned away the Meepo because they had Animage and Queen of Pain, right? One of the OG heroes, but so is Alchemist, and Alchemist definitely showed his strength here, being able to stay ahead of the Animage network constantly.
You pointed out a great piece of information about Miracle. It's not just the way he's played here, played different heroes, it's also the way he's played them. He's been very flexible, should we say, in the way that the team have wanted to use him in a different style, particularly on the Alchemist as well.
Yeah, Alchemist, I'm actually still surprised that we haven't seen him in the support role, but we have seen him in the off lane, the mid, the carry role. In the mid role, he is just incredibly flexible. You can just, you know, the stack and pull, the Manta, Octarine Radiance, you can do Solar Crest, Vlad's AC team fight build, you can go the ganking build with a Silver Edge, and it's still a very, very, should be a hotly contested pick.
I mean, the first game, you made the point, Jacob, that OG were a little bit stubborn and that they could have been a bit more flexible, and they certainly showed that in games 2 and 3.
Definitely, and what they're not stubborn in is the way they itemize. One of the reasons why this Alchemist was so good is because he didn't stick with what's tried and tested popular right now. We see it oftentimes, a lot of Alchemist goes for this Radiance, Manta style, Octarine core build, which wouldn't have worked at all in this lineup. He goes for that early game build, and turns into getting that Shadow Blade into a Monkey King bar, which really was the deciding factor on how they dealt with the anti-mage. And that's really the mark of a great team, the way they constantly adapt to the situation, know what they need to build in terms of items, and know what they need to do in terms of team play and objective.
Okay, I want to turn our attention back to October the 10th, 2015. Not a particularly outstanding date, unless it was your birthday, of course. As they were then, Monkey Business took on Ninjas in Pyjamas and dropped a game. They then followed that up by dropping a game against the CIS Rejects. Both of these games were in the qualifiers to even get to Frankfurt. There is no possible way any of these players thought that those games would lead them all the way to the grand final. It's been an incredible story, and the first team ever to come from the very first round best of one games and reach a grand final at a Valve-sponsored event.
They closed out the rest of the qualifiers, though, by destroying Liquid in very convincing fashion with a Meepo, and that was like, wow, this team just crushed Liquid. Liquid was probably my top pick coming out from the EU qualifiers.
Yeah, and Ninjas in Pyjamas actually won the group in the qualifiers as well, so you could have argued that they should have been a tougher opponent too.
OG has just grown stronger and stronger throughout, ever since TI basically, from their inception.
Victory. Playing versus my old teammates is a very nice thing. I know the guys. It makes it easier for me. No matter what, we're still enemies until the tournament is over. But at the same time, we're still friends. Being friends with somebody and like playing on a high level in a game that no matter what we'll be achieving a lot in our career and financially and everything. It's very relieving and it's a very nice. Thing I could ever say to Team Secret is that may the best team win. I think our style fits this patch very well. I think overall we're one of the most versatile teams. I believe this is also why Secret is so successful, because they're very versatile in many ways. I like to think that if another patch would hit and the game would change, we would be able to adapt. But I know that this patch suits us well, and I feel like we're figuring each other out, but also figuring the patch out. I'm excited to play the final. I'm excited to win my first big tournament. I'm excited to play some of the best Dota I've ever played and some of the most important games in my life, if not the most important ever in my life. I'm really looking forward to it no matter what the outcome is, and I just want to see what we're at when we're at our best potential.
OG, having had a terrific road to the final, and obviously he's a very, very happy man right now, having had to shake off the summer. They had a very poor TI, of course, when he was playing with Cloud9. Very disappointed. I remember watching him walk away from that, just absolutely distraught from how poorly he felt he played and his team had played. And to see him come all the way back to the grand final, he must be thrilled, Cap.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a man who's been passed around from team to team, coming in with Fnatic, going over to Cloud9. I mean, they've just gone around from team, and he's never really found that one successful team that is able to make it to a grand finals and actually put up a good enough top-tier fight like this team has. And I'm sure that he just sees this progression in his career and is absolutely thrilled by the prospects of even just being here on the final stage.
Is there any niggle there with Team Secret, do you think?
He had a stint in Team Secret before they started the deep run in tournaments early in the year, so there's definitely a lot of desire to beat Poppy, I believe. I would have at least.
And as we say that, Team Secret arriving in style, ready for the grand final. Puppy leading the way as he has done throughout the Team Secret career, and of course through this team, through this tournament as well. He's the man as far as they're concerned, and the reaction says everything.
Oh yeah, the OG audience.
I'm really interested to how the audience comes out in this, because actually we've heard some fantastic roars for Secret in the upper bracket final yesterday, and OG have been equally very well supported here as well. So battle of the crowd, I think, maybe. I don't know.
The question remains, are those the same fans? If you've been cheering for Secret, you've been cheering for OG, it might be the same fan base, right? It's going to come down to it now. Who are they actually rooting for?
Yeah, indeed. Let's talk about Puppy. He is the team captain, and it has been an incredible year for him, from setting up a brand new team to going to the international as heavy favourites, crashing out, now coming here as favourites again, and finally reaching a grand final with a completely different lineup of players. He is the consummate professional and widely regarded as one of the best captains in the scene.
I think the fact that he was able to take some of these more amateur players like Weehaw and put them in a position where they're really able to shine. I think that, there's a lot of talk about Puppy, being able to rein in certain players, a lot of jokes about Eternal Envy in that regard, but I think that the biggest thing is actually Weehaw and how he's been able to utilize this amateur talent who did see professional play on a team called Balkan Bears, wasn't successful at all in that regard, and was able to utilize that, that kind of raw gem, shine it to perfection, and now we see him on the final stage as well.
Yeah, definitely rubbed off some of those edges as well. What's he like to play with?
Best captain, I think, and as you said before, that's kind of the true test of a captain. I think, can you refine that raw talent into something that can win championships and glory? And we saw PBD do that with Sumail and hopefully RTZ, I suppose. Fly, I actually think, carried this team very far in TI5 with Elbow Complexity. He wasn't actually the captain, but for what I've heard from people talking, like, he did most of the draft, even though Swindle Melons was like the guy with the crown inside the game. And there aren't really that many captains that match up to Puppy's level.
Okay, let's take a look at the highlights from their previous game. The Evil Geniuses match was just terrific yesterday. From the neutral, for the casual, everyone enjoyed that match yesterday.
I mean, this was the best game of the year. The score here as well, so close. Constantly high-level plays coming out from both teams. Keep exchanging kills. When one team wins a fight, the other one turns it right around and wins the next one, up until the point where we just have these two divine rapiers. And how often do we even get to see, let alone one divine rapier, but two? An insane all-in by Envy that definitely paid off.
Yeah, that game. Well, where does that stack in your favorite game list, Cap? Is that one that you put in the top 5?
Oh, for sure. I think that definitely ranks up with many of the games that we've seen. There was a recent Vici game that was very insane as well. But going all the way back to the TI3 Alliance versus Na'Vi, it ranks up there in just the high levels of play and tension.
I mean, MD just did so many things in that last fight, though. Like when he died with the Aegis, he used a Sleight of Fist to get a lot of damage out. He baited them out with a Remnant. He blinked back, but on top of that, he got the BKB from the chicken and popped it. There was so much pressure on him with 2 rapiers, and he delivered far above expectations.
In so many tournaments throughout the year, throughout his entire career, Envy has always been, either loved or hated. But in this particular tournament, you can't put a finger on his play. He's come out absolutely big for his team in every game they've played. His Ember Spirit has been performing as one of the best Ember Spirits I've ever seen.
And the question is, can Miracle or Notel actually step up to that kind of level of carry play?
We may have seen some of that in our previous game against Evil Geniuses, because obviously coming through that lower bracket, no one expected him to come up. Do you think that makes a difference now for Puppy in terms of the way he's going to draft, the way he's thinking about it? It's a different opponent than perhaps he expected to play?
I think if you had asked any of the captains, PPD, Puppy, everyone else, what they expected from OG this morning, it was that they were very easy to predict. Then you saw them play up against EG, and it became a lot less predictable. It's funny to hear No Tail say that he feels like they're one of the most versatile teams, because oftentimes I think a lot of the other teams would regard them as one of the least versatile teams outside of their cheesy picks, so to speak. So hearing him say that and seeing how much confidence they've had throughout the tournament and believing in themselves makes me think that they have everything it takes to take down a championship.
Okay. We do, of course, have the thoughts of Puppy, as ever, on his road to the Grand Finals. They've had a very interesting run, perhaps not as hard as OG, but still, they've had some fantastic games along the way.
We probably have learned a lot of things about our team. I think we understand our weaknesses a little bit more now. Each tournament we understand our weaknesses. And I think in this tournament, it's like we make definitely more mistakes than any other tournament we've ever played. And we're gonna settle it probably. Like we're gonna just get better. Well, Envy's Ember is pretty much like it is in his personality. And when he wants to go with Divine Rapiers, I'm totally fine with it, because it's the way to play sometimes. And in those games, it kind of showed that he needed himself to put on a position where it's now or never, all in pretty much. And those things work. And I'm glad that Envy can pull that stuff out, because that takes a lot of responsibility and a lot of confidence. OG, yeah, I've had Johan on my team, I had Tal on my team. I feel like I have a lot of respect for Tal, because the way that he actually made Complexity play really good. And Johan, Big Daddy, we're bros still, Let's see a good game.
Team Secret and Puppy are ready for the Grand Final. It's only the second meeting of the teams, and the two clashing together. What do you make of that in terms of, can we read anything into previous meetings, or is this completely different now?
No, absolutely not, because OG, as we've been talking about before, they've been growing as a team very rapidly, and I would say even in this tournament that they've grown a significant amount. So I would say that you can't really read much from their previous meetings. This is a whole new OG, a more advanced style.
Okay, Malene, do we get any clues from the past to the present?
I think they might have looked at the last game and gotten some hints from that. Moon was talking about how the last game sort of devolved into a pub game, and that's way different from, I think, the first game where...
He was talking about game 2, wasn't he, with the Earthshaker?
Oh, he was talking about...
Was he?
Well, I think
Yeah.
game 3 was somewhat similar too, because
A
it was
little bit
mostly
puppy?
Miracle... Excuse me?
A little bit puppy?
A little bit puppy?
Pubby.
Pubby, yes, it was a little bit pubby. But the first game, I don't really think it was, because Miracle wasn't really allowed to do anything individually skilled in that, so I think that Puppy needs to keep it to a game of strategy in between the captains as opposed to the individual players.
Yeah, that's sort of moving it towards his strength and where he wants them to play him against. Interesting dynamics in this team as well, with Eternal Envy being on one side, Big Daddy being on the other side, Puppy being on the other side, Fly being back with no... So many dynamics involved in this whole team. Did they play any part in this final, or are they too focused to worry about that stuff?
I think they're too focused, but it was absolutely inspiring hearing how Poppy talked about Eternal Envy and his decision to go for those Divine Rapiers. Truly the mark of a great captain, realizing what can put his player at his best behavior. And Eternal Envy really just played the game of his life, right? And for Poppy to just say, yeah, go for the Divine Rapier. And when Envy then, I'm going to go for the second Divine Rapier. And Poppy's just like, yeah, that sounds good. Do it.
Is that part of being a great captain, though? Is allowing, figuring out when to allow players to express themselves in game?
Exactly, and having that level of trust in your teammates as well without questioning it is just incredible.
Yeah.
You don't bend your players. You don't bend their style to your will, essentially, right? You, as a captain, have to work your strategy around what works best with your players, right? Some players can't just change their style completely. Miracle's going to play the way Miracle does, and OG, with the way they draft, they open up the game. So you can have those kind of almost hub-style games where Miracle is making plays with, Silver Edge and running around the map solo killing heroes. He can make that kind of play because it's set up from the strategy. And I think that's important what Puppy brings to Team Secret, and I think what Tal brings to OG.
Okay, we're going to get more from all three of you and put you all on the spot in just a minute. The predictions are just around the corner. But for a grand final, we need 10 players and 2 teams. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Team Secret and OG. So the players and teams will get set. The crowd have shown their appreciation for the 2 teams, and they are ready for the grand final. Best of 5, of course, to come. And we've got some predictions on the line. Some men going to put their necks on the line right now to tell you who they think will take it in 5 maps. We're going to start with Capitalist.
I think I already had a little bit of my speech earlier, so I'll keep it short. OG all the way. I'm living that dream. I think that OG, they've created this hype train, and I'm on board.
His hair says EG, though.
Yeah. You had to point that out just to make him feel worse.
Regardless of what he says, he's wrong. Even when OG wins.
Okay, so we've got one for OG. I get the impression, Malk, that every time you've gone against OG, they've won, and then...
I've only gone against them once.
Well, okay, once it's Synderen that keeps going against them, but
Yes.
to get back into Denmark, presumably you're going to like to keep your passport, and therefore...
I made the mistake once. I'm not going to do it again. OG is going to take this.
Okay.
Is that because they have 2 Danes as opposed to 1?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very difficult this year. It's
Sole
dominating
reason.
Finals. I'm going to keep mine very short as well. Mine's Team Secret. I think they play fantastically. I think they did well against EG, and I think they can take it all.
I'll also go with Team Secret.
Okay, Secret Bros over here.
Why?
We're together. Brilliant. 2 Secrets, 2 OGs.
Similar to EG. I mean, the same reasons we gave for OG, or same reasons we gave for EG. They're more experienced. I think Puppy's been, in the spotlight and more championships than Tal, and I think the draft is going to swing in Puppy's favor.
In many ways, these are both relatively inexperienced teams. I mean,
Yeah,
led by experienced
that's actually
players.
super
but
surprising to me.
They've got lots of lack of experience in the team.
We have 16,000 MMR points in the middle lane alone. 16,000.
That's a new
So-
That's all you need to know.
5 Jacobs?
at least 8.
I got enough.
Good enough for all of us.
3 Jacobs.
Wow.
Don't be so generous.
Wow, that's very nasty of you. I thought you were going to be nice to Mount today as well. Nevertheless, we're getting ready for the first draft, so let's talk about potential picks and bans and where we think this might go. We've talked about Puppy's great drafting as well throughout the tournament. Needs another set of great drafts to take out an OG team who seemingly have got a lot of flexibility in their draft.
I think one of the biggest things that I saw from OG in the draft, that if you're able to ban away a couple of the heroes, I think that Winter Wyvern is actually an incredibly good support against OG because it helps lock down. It's decently good versus the Alchemist. It's a decent counter as well to the Meepo. I think that support in the 1-2 is a priority for Secret because of OG's playstyle.
Jacob?
Yeah, I keep trailing back to Slaughter and how significant that hero was going into the tournament and how it's just being completely ignored now at this stage of the tournament, which is still weird to me, and I can't help but expect that we're going to see a change in that throughout this series.
Okay, so in a similar vein to EG, Secret also respect the Tiny, the Wisp rather, so the Wisp Tiny combo can't be pulled out by OG again. A lot of respect for that.
I think the Tusk might be more important than the 2 heroes that you guys listed, just because I think that Secret likes to play more organized team fights, whereas OG likes to cause a lot more chaos with, like, Winter Wyvern starting off fights with even Arctic Burn. I think that the speed of which the ganks happen with Tusk and the angles just make things a little bit too crazy for Secret to want to deal with.
Okay, the SF has gone as well as Doom. I think that's exactly the same 3 as we saw in the game against EG for OG.
OG has played the most games in this tournament, giving the run through the lower bracket, and just having played a series up against EG, they've had to give away a lot of information that Poppy has been picking up on, and I think, there's a lot. Great Slaughter pick. There's a lot to take from how PPD drafted against him, and he can take all the strengths that PPD showed in the draft and use that to his advantage against OG. Because I really feel like EG, it was their play that decided the game, much more so than their draft. Or their lack of good play.
Well, at least OG picked up a bit of information. Don't give Eternal Envy Empire Spirit. They ban that one away alongside the Doom. They'll pick up the Winter Wyvern against the Slardar, and there's the Tusk. There are 3 heroes we mentioned.
Team Secret's turn to pick.
So now there's still 2 really good supports for Secret if they want to go for the Dazzle or the Bane. I think if not, OG will likely get one in the second phase or ban it out.
I prefer seeing the Bane just because I still think overall it's a much better hero than the Dazzle is. Statistically, even more so. The Dazzle, it's good. It also depends on what Poppy has in mind for the actual strategy. I just feel like whenever we see them play the Bane, it's almost a guaranteed
5
win.
seconds remaining.
Which is easy to say about a team that's coming from the winner bracket, of course.
Doesn't Dazzle open up more strategy to them, though?
Team Secret's turn to ban.
Okay.
I guess so.
So the Pili die Tiny.
So they're on Radiant, which is pretty important when having the potential support Tiny from Pili Day. Does it work on Dire?
I was talking
I don't
about it. I
think
think
it
it might be potentially possible, but it's going to be much harder on Dire's side, even if it is.
I think you have to like eat a tree and then you can do it.
Yeah, it'd be some weird scenario. But yes, Radiant side, Tiny. Team Secret going back to this strategy once again. It seems like none of the other teams, I expected the first time that they revealed this support Tiny, that it was going to be shut out a little bit better. Perhaps the enemy team would go for a 5-man excursion, block out that hard camp, preventing the pull.
There is the chance that it's not
a mid-tiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the combination with Tiny and Slaughter too, because sometimes Misery doesn't get anything out of the off lane, and instead they just throw the Slaughter onto the mid laner, especially if it's a weak hero like the SF. So OG have to be careful about their mid choice.
Team Secret, I think, banning away the teamfight heroes, so obviously the Undying, which goes well with the Tusk, but I would look towards, I don't know, how do you feel about Gyrocopter? It works well with the OG lineup, but you already have the Slardar on the side of Team Secret, which I think is
and right now OG has a lot of confidence in their Gyrocopter as well, right? They just come off 2 wins with it, is in combination with the Tusk, so it makes a lot of sense for them to go that direction.
But if Wind Ranger's left in the pool, Team Secret could just pick up a Weehaw Wind Ranger, have that combined with the Slardar, and I think that's a completely antagonistic scenario for a Gyrocopter. I don't think you ever want to be in a game like that.
Team Secret's turn to ban.
Not entirely sure why, if he bans out another support, such as the Shadow Priest, for instance, I'm not completely on board with that, just because OG, from what we've just seen, played the Winter Wyvern and the Tusk as their supports, and they're more likely to, with this current pool, pick up a Earthshaker or a Darkseer for Moon Meander. So the need to ban out the additional support for Secret isn't really there compared to banning out potential cheese. See, this is what I like, banning out the Alchemist, banning out Miracle Heroes.
So do you think they should have not banned the Undying?
I don't think it was necessary. Probably just precautionary in case we... Okay. So it is a Moon
Pick up the Dazzle.
It is a Moon Meander Tusk.
I think Secret still have that Wind Ranger open.
The Dazzle was a smart pickup for OG because you have this kind of, at least in the first 1-2, burst-oriented. I mean, the support Tiny, or perhaps core Tiny, is very much focused on his combination. If he doesn't get that kill, there's the turnaround that happens. Dazzle is a great response to that.
Guys, there's a Husker. EA is banned. There's a Husker in the pool.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Does Secret think they can leave the Wind Ranger until late? Pick it up?
I don't know if they want to pick it up right now.
Do they even want to pick it up?
There's like no clues as to what OG want to go yet, because you don't know their mid lane. You don't know if they're going to pick a Huskar yet. Maybe, are you even scared of a Huskar pick though?
You can still pick up 2 physical damage cores. I think OG would be fine. Like a third pick.
You could still pick up a Brood too.
Yeah. You could go Brood. You could go like Wind Ranger Sven as your mid and your safe lane to give yourself a big up in physical damage.
Brood is dangerous against OG right now.
Yeah,
The three strange picks or cheese picks that they've had are all still available right now. Meepo's not banned, Brood's not banned, Huskar's not banned. It's going to give Secret a little bit of a headache, but I would assume that they've got a plan for that.
Well, either team plays Meepo.
Yep. Also true.
I'd like to see both teams play at once.
I was going to say, I would too. I mean, you've got to factor in a best of 5. If this goes all the way, we're going to see at least one.
I wonder what Secret are digging into their reserve time for.
They must be discussing the Husk right now, right? The Husk.
Yeah, I mean, they can't take it themselves though, so do they have to pick up something that's already good versus Huskar?
Shadow Shaman, I think they might go in the direction of a push strategy in case they pick up the Huskar. Imagine following up with the legendary Chen of Poppy, and then potentially, a Brood or a Dragonite.
We have seen a Puppy Chen here this week, in fact.
OG don't have bad spam against a push lineup with the Winter Wyvern Splendid Blast, the Ice Shards. They continue down that line, get like the Wind Ranger, I think
5 seconds.
it would still be okay versus a push, but Shadow Shaman's definitely been seeing an increase in priority. It used to be the Lion that was favored as sort of like the 5th pick support.
It's good for removing single creep waves, but when they come in with heroes that can, like, for instance, with Chen creeps and Rasta wards, it gets a lot more difficult.
High ground would be a heavy commitment though. If you don't have a creep wave and you throw down Serpent wards and your heroes on the front line as well, you've got Tusk especially, I think, is quite good in those scenarios where a team has to make commitment to a Rax, and then there's no retreat from the ice shards that blocks them out.
Yeah, exactly what Tusk
Versus OG, your grand final, live here in Frankfurt, the first ever major. Who will be crowned the champion? And who will
nice
have to
Danish
settle
all
for
chat. I like it.
The Danish spirit is definitely alive. Of course, Canada is the real winner, no matter what happens.
We have Danes on both teams, so that's good too. Of course, Misery did say good luck, friends, in all chat. Oh, no, not friends right now, I think.
Is this going to start already? OG bring all 5 players down into the Radiant jungle, and they'll ready to crush on Moon. Support behind Moon. He has to protect himself inside that snowball. Eternal Envy dropping very, very low. Will he die with a toss-up? Envy's down. PL gets the kill, but a huge run from Misery. Misery's trying to get out with Pylite Die. OG, there's so much damage being applied to Team Secret. A double kill for No-Tail. They want to go for more. Pylite Die throwing No-Tail away, but he'll just switch his target over to Puppey, who's pushed Crit into a corner with the shock. Puppey will grab a double kill for Team Secret. We're heating up here in Grand Final Game 1. May not be over just yet. Weehaw, Blink's coming off cooldown. No-Tail not a lot left, and now give him maneuverability with a toss forward. Blink still available. No-Tail's dropping low. The runes are only now just going to spawn, but No-Tail, the attack Weehaw missed uphill once. Can he actually miss it a second time? No-Tail salving up into the Secret shop. The attack from Weehaw will at least cancel the salve. Then now they'll back it out. The bounty rune will be given over to Weehaw. This will give him his level 2 and 5 kills before the cockerel crows.
Welcome to the finals. Incredible level 1 fight. That looked so good for OG because they got a fantastic Shadow Wave out from Fly. If that doesn't do that much damage and healing at the same time, OG get run over in that fight. But still, they get first blood, they trade 3 for 2. It's a pretty even exchange overall. And we're off to a really interesting laning stage here where OG, of course, they're looking to prevent Pylite Die from doing this mid-pull with the Tiny.
And they're committing so hard. Pylite's fairly low, and they can see him. That Observer Ward sees around the tree line now. Pylite Die has no idea that Fly and Crit are waiting on the other side of the tree line. And Crit, he actually has Arctic Burn waiting, but they're waiting for Pylite to move in and do the toss. The second they do that, Pylite Die's position is committed too hard, and now, there it is. They waited so long, the toss will come, actually pushing the heal away, but Wyvern finds the kill and levels the board up at 3 apiece. Poppy was rotating over from the side, and Crit will actually just move back past the tier 1 tower. But OG really making a big effort to control this Secret jungle early on.
Yeah, they need to make sure Miracle gets off to a good start in the mid lane. If this just becomes I'm guessing kind of a 1.5-on-1 with Tiny tossing, Envy's actually going to have an all right time with the Anti-Mage. But like this, with Wyvern even helping out, he has a very difficult matchup. And he's running out of regen already. He's got 2 tangos remaining. He's sending out a salve and, of course, his poor man's shield now on the courier. So far, so good for OG as far as the mid lane goes.
This move from Pylite is not going to work while Crit is here. Again, he moves around with it, but again, with Eternal Envy rotating over, Crit is in real trouble. That burn, not enough. Envy still able to reach him. Even with the blink a little askew. They're able to reach the Wyvern, and Eternal Envy claims his first kill of this game.
Big for him. This is not something I would have expected to happen around this mid lane already. Eternal Envy getting the kill with the poor man's shield in the region, and of course, the fact that he now grabbed this kill and is leading on CS. He's feeling confident here, just blinking up on Miracle, willing to exchange his salve for a little bit of damage here.
Well, no, the Miracle he hasn't gone for the Exort build, he's gone more for the Kloss. And to offset this, he's picked up the Blaze of Attack before he picks up his boots up against the Anti-Mage.
But he's playing the harassment game right now. He does have way superior regen, 7.2 before even using a tango. Try to just drain Envy of resources in this mid lane. Curious to see what route Envy takes if he tries for a bottle even in this mid lane.
Cold Snap's being used. Eternal Envy does have Blink on cooldown. But Crit doesn't have some extra damage without the creep wave there as well. Even if he had his level 2 straight away, the Splinter Blast wouldn't have had an effect. And in fact, Wyvern just holding on to that point.
They don't have any healing support to help Envy in the mid lane, so he has to sustain himself. So it's going to be between a Ring of Health and a bottle, and both of them are a little bit away right now. He's sending out another salve on the courier. Needing to invest so many resources into just staying in the lane.
Puppey, No-Tail, looking to commit. Puppey just runs down, breaks through the tree line. PL does put an early point up in that Phantom Rush so we can chase after Shaman, who's now going to go for the Shackles. Weehaw jumping forward. No-Tail with no Doppelganger available means there is kill opportunities here for Team Secret, especially with that Shadow Strike. No-Tail, he's dead here. He should tick out there with the last attack. Fly actually no, gonna Shadow Grave, keep No-Tail alive. He's still ticking down.
Yeah, 6 tick chargers and
He's gonna live. He's gonna live back behind the tier 1 tower and surviving. Well, actually, Pylai died. Down, Radiant Jungle. He thought he was safe on the other side of the tree line, but that Observer was still down from OG, helping Miracle to ensure the kill. But he can't really burn enough mana off here. Even with the 2 points up in that mana break, Miracle actually very, very low. The crit slowing down Eternal Envy. There's no more chase to come.
Oh, they could toss him.
Where is it?
They lose Vixen.
If they could walk up.
They were looking to toss Envy on so he could get one more hit, and tossing a creep would not have been enough with this toss only being level 1. And of course, the lane we haven't touched upon so much is the safe lane for the Dire, where of course we do have Moon Meander playing against Misery, both of them. Oh, Misery a little bit off level 5. He's going to get it in a second. There we go.
It's been a pretty brutal lane on top. Misery will come in and crush, then Moon throws out the shards. They just keep trading their nukes against each other. Obviously very difficult for both heroes to ensure a kill, especially when it comes to the Slardar, because you've always got that snowball that can stall you up.
Here are the Tranquils. So he's going to regen up here, and maybe this is a potential kill on the top lane, not too far from here for Secret if they will get this level 6 on Misery soon. But at the same time, you could say for OG, Moon Meander winning the lane right now, being level 6 earlier, has his 10 CS advantage on the Slardar.
They're already getting a rotate with him.
Yep.
PL's got enough mana through those stick charges that...
He can throw a lance only.
Yeah.
That's enough, though.
With a snowball in from Moon with a shard
He
damage.
doesn't have mana for his entire combo on the
Radiant's
Tusk, though.
middle
No
tower
mango
is
on him
under
anymore.
attack.
But he can at least still do the snowball and shards with the Phantom Lance combined. That up against a Slardar with Tranquils and full life, or almost full life, it would be a tall order. Weeha's also now rotating. Does it underneath the Dire Observer Ward, so Miracle now knows that they're switching up the mid lane. This will give space now for Eternal Envy to farm on the bottom lane. Understanding the PL has disappeared, so there's a little bit less pressure on the Anti-Mage of Envy.
And there's a lot of kill potential in this mid lane for both teams, I think. With the Tusk off the map, you've got to be careful with Queen of Pain that
They're
you don't
coming.
get caught.
Misery sprinting from behind. He actually just bypasses the Wyvern. Can't get the crush. The Cold Snap stops it. Now the crush will connect Weeha. Still has the Sonic Wave. But Invoker, Cold Embrace by Crypt for the moment. Misery still bailing out here. The Sword Blast will not fly up to the Slardar. But they do get the TP rotation out from Fly. You start to see the damage of a high maneuverability Slardar.
They might have actually been able to kill that Slardar if they didn't Cold Embrace. Miracle still had his Tornado and I think EMP available for a turnaround, but they
Dire's
play it
bottom
safe
tower is
with
under
crit.
attack.
Worried about the potential physical damage that could fly out there, and of course the Sonic Wave might have been the right choice in that situation.
Okay, so if you're OG right now, you understand the laning phase. It's been fairly even. There's little between these two teams at the moment. Do you try and shut down Envy? We've seen what he has done for Team Secret time and time again. Is this when you move the Tusker off? Do you rotate down? Do you try and kill? Him off? Or are you more concerned about what's coming out from this Queen of Pain and Slardar?
I think if you're just looking at the state of this game right now and how it's going to develop over the next 15 minutes, trading no farm for Envies, I don't think is the way to go for OG. The Phantom Lancer, if you go back a couple of months, Phantom Lancer was a very popular pick. The two main counter So concerning for OG. They take a bad exchange, and 3 kills going on Envy is going to secure him treads and the Perseverance already minute 9. So he's now on top of the net worth chart. The exchange here, so Miracle now with this urn that you mentioned will of course have way better solo kill potential, can combo it with his Cold Snap to trigger that and prevent a hero like Eternal Envy from blinking pretty well. He needs to make use of it. There's a lot of pressure, in my opinion, on Miracle in this game to perform because they can't really utilize the PL against the Radiant lineup very
Misery,
well.
bottom lane, they're running in the snowball. Misery can turn for a double crush. There goes Shatasso. Misery dying so quickly when Fly arrives with that burst heal, and now Weehar's in trouble. 2 seconds for Blink, and 2 seconds is too long. The Winter Wyvern will find the kill as OG turn it on Secret underneath their own tier 1 tower.
Well, in the mid lane, Miracle still pressuring Pi, and Secret's choice now to give the tiny levels, I think, is the way to go. You want multiple ways of dealing with the PL illusions, and of course, really good magic damage against the Cold Embrace. If there's one thing OG's lineup is really good at dealing with right now, it's physical damage. They obviously counterpick the Slardar by getting both Cold Embrace and Weave and Shallow Grave mid lane.
Yeah, there's your attack, Puppey. He went instantly for the Hex. Miracle's still gonna hit that Tornado. Not sure if Puppey will end up surviving with that urn ticking him down. They'll give a Revenger, and Puppey, he doesn't survive. The Invoke will reach him. Miracle so far forward, but the Shallow Grave allows him to TP out to safety.
Of course, very, very close there, but Puppey's haste does get purged by the Tornado. That allows Miracle to get that last attack, and the urn was actually not enough. Puppey was salving through it. Oh, top lane, Misery's in trouble.
Yeah, with that snowball in, the Shards won't lock him in position, however. Misery, again, a reactive crush a little bit too late. OG
I don't know if
just
he could do it
harass him
faster.
down. He's worried. Like, Misery died when he was only about 800 gold away from completing his Blink Dagger. That was the death on the bottom lane, and now he's continuously dying, and this Blink keeps getting delayed.
It is a key item, but I've just got my eyes on this safe lane of Secret. The fact that Envy has 4 kills and is not being countered very much. We're looking at a 15-minute Battle Fury if this continues. And in contrast to the game we saw between OG and Evil Geniuses, where they had the Alchemist to kill him off, who is killing the AM this game? I have a very hard time seeing OG pull it off. If Envy gets 1 or 2 core items after the Battle Fury, the PL needs to get really big, and it's not really happening just yet for No-Tail. I'm saying that he has 54 CS and 2 kills, but you look at the net worth chart and
he's 3.6k to the 5k of Anime.
He's 1,500 gold behind right now. That's really worrying. You need to be on par right now with PL to have a fighting chance in that matchup.
Looks like Miracle's now going to make his rotation down to bottom lane, but he's doing it right underneath the Radiant Observer was, so Secret see this coming, and they just back up. In fact, they just go for up the top. Moon already crushed up. Hard Eye gets him tossed in the air with a Screamer. Not enough damage with the stick charges, but they had enough of a follow-up. Misery again, he takes so much damage to ensure these kills.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Doesn't really care too much as long as he survives. Of course, Slardar, with that only 5-second downtime on Sprint, can very easily just move around the map. Doesn't lose nearly as much time as other heroes on having to go back to base. He's already almost up to full health again, can TP out on a lane and maybe look for a kill. And see this movement from OG. They are identifying that is this Envy is a problem. They're going to go on him bottom.
They commit Curse, they go with the EMP as well. He's still got enough mana for a blink. He can get to the trees if he can only blink. There he goes. Back behind the trees, misses the Tornado, and the urn will time out. Miracle will end up dying. Envy so low again, and Misery wants to punish. He's moving forward towards Crypt. The amplification's up. No-Tail going to try and create a buffer between himself as well as the Wyvern and Team Secret. Snowball chasing up the Slardar once again. He should be able to get this crush off. Oh no, yeah he does, but he's already down to Fly. OG, they do get 1 kill for the Invoker, but they don't get the big one. They don't get Envy.
That Tornado was so close from Miracle, but Envy blinked all the way into the corner, and he's basically blind guessing there. Now at the same time, Puppey realizes, okay, you guys have just TP'd down 2 or 3 heroes to help in the bottom lane. He's almost going to take this tier 1 tower top. Crit doing what he can here.
He can't do this for long though. If Puppey comes in and just ether shocks him, Crit loses almost all of his life. And
Puppy's tanking the tower so he can get some damage out.
Tower is under attack.
And he feels pretty safe doing this. He knows he has Envy on backup. He knows all those TPs came to the bottom lane.
It
Now we
almost
might
feels
actually
like
just
he's
see Envy
skating.
going in.
Came forward, feeling like he might have had an opportunity. There's not enough mana burn for Envy to get the kill with the mana board, even if it is level 2. As Crypt falls down, he breaks the tree line, and Envy moves forward. He can blink forward to attack.
$15 minutes, pretty much spot on here. Very good timing for him, of course, in this game. But OG got about as much out of that as they could. Really good rotation of their heroes. Great weave cast there. From Fly, giving them the vision and information they needed, being able to dive behind the tower and find those kills. And Weeha in this game, he needs levels on Blink. It's really the cooldown that's getting him killed right now. He's died 3 times, and he always gets the first Blink off, and then they just run him down with all of this good catch they have with the Snowball, the Invoker Tornado, of course, Long Range Wyvern, and even the PL with the Phantom Rush. It's very easy for them to catch up as long as they have the vision. Something Secret have got to be a little bit worried about. But I still think they have some leeway, right? It's like OG are doing everything they need to do. And I'm still sitting with this feeling this is just a classic AM game. So they need to keep this pressure up, find more of these kills to be able to deal with him later on. And if there's one thing that's just been almost...
Or top, Fly, Crush. Misery keeps him controlled, looking for another stun. And well, the Shallow Grave will be there, but TP Scroll decide not to use it. He might get bashed anyway, and Misery just needs to keep up a little bit longer. Blink Dagger off cooldown in 1 second time. He's not going for it. Fly's just retreating. They'll deny the top tier 1 tower. That's what Fly was working for.
A lot of respect being shown here from Misery. Scared of the rotation.
Surprising too, because when you get that Blink Dagger, you'd expect the Slider to get even more aggressive. Maybe he's worried about the other lanes, like, for example, Miracle, who's now going to use an EMP this Slider, and Misery, well, he just can't blink in time. That you're set to doing damage, so...
That's pretty annoying.
It is.
You're just standing there, you're in the tornado, and you just know, okay, the moment I drop down, the only thing I can do is run. There's no other... And he's got to go all the way back to base. I'm curious if we're going to see a stick on Envy. I think he's missing a magic stick this game simply because his entire mana pool gets burnt. Last time we saw Pilot giving him the Arcane Boots and actually giving Envy the choice of blinking out or in, and he chose to commit for a kill on Miracle that they did get, but he died first. If Pilot isn't around and he gets hit by EMP, his entire mana pool is gone, unless if he's sitting on these int treads and completely full mana.
Could he then just go into something more like a BKB? That means it's going to be Walrus Punch and Curse will be the only things that would control him.
BKB is a very good item on Anti-Mage in this game, I think. I would say
All fly,
probably go
walks
Blast
in,
Manta
the
and
smoke's
then
gonna
TP.
break, and Weeha, well, there's a crush from Misery. Massive pulls it down with a snowball, dragging Fly up with a Sonic Wave. It's so hard on OG, but they got so much life. Puppy dropping down low. There's 2 heroes left, probably gonna be a third. Misery so low, and Fly, the cold embrace gets him up. Weeha will die from the fall. It's a double kill for Nurtail. It's 4 kills for OG, and a 9-kill lead, 19 minutes in. The only person that doesn't die is Eternal Envy because he's just absent.
And it's been really fascinating for me how during the entire main event of this tournament, apart from that, there's been like 1 or 2 games, mainly the last game EG played in the tournament, where teams are kind of avoiding fights. They almost constantly are going at each other. Right now we have a 31-kill game at 19 minutes in, and I don't know if this is the strategy Secret should be playing right now. I think play the slower game, get the vision out, just keep track of OG, dodge fights, secure Envy farm. You could argue that they have to take fights constantly so that Envy feels safe, but at the same time, they just ran into a very bad team fight that OG won, and then obviously EVE getting farm is great, but the next 4 heroes on the net worth chart are all OG. Almost all 5, actually. Dazzle has almost got higher net worth than the Queen of Pain.
But you can understand the concept behind it. Like, it was meant to be a smoke into the dire jungle, you get 1 quick pick, and then you move out. You saw the target of the Dazzle, and then the idea is, we kill him, we get out. That's it. You don't need anything more. Maybe they'll leave me enough where you could just attack the tier 1 tower from range, and OG won't initiate into you. But it's the timing that comes out from Moon. His ability to be there for the snowball, and then forcing Secret to even split up their own fight. They're not dictating the terms of where the fight happens. And Weeha is also in a world of hurt. He doesn't have a TP scroll. It's on cooldown for 27 seconds. Miracle's gonna walk over. They go for the cold snap, blink in 1 second time, and Weeha, tornado again, gonna send him up, and he can't get away. The Invoker will find the kill, and OG extend their lead further. They still have Eternal Envy creep skipping the top lane. And Notal will TP back to deal with this, but while he does so, Puppy and Misery, they're waiting for the opportunity. It's a fake PL on the front lines, and they will not fall for it.
Gonna play it safe. Some really good warding right now from OG. You can very clearly tell that they try to play more of an aggressive game, whereas Secret, all of their wards are inside their own jungle, apart from that one they have near the top rune. OG with a deeper ward around the enemy top tier 2. They have a deep ward inside the enemy jungle. And also one in the top lane. Oh, Notail putting pressure on Puppy. He's suddenly got this Diffusal Blade, forcing out a TP.
Slowing down Envy. He'll blink away. The snowball's chasing TP. It doesn't have time. Moon will reach him in Eternal Envy. He can blink again. Down to 55 life. He'll buy his Menastyle recipe, but he's got one more blink up his sleeve. But he does not have a TP scroll. He'll have to make him chase with the Sigil and the Shards. Envy avoids the Shard damage. Now the Sigil gets vision. He blinks away, but they know exactly where. The Sigil just keeps chasing. Now the snowball can work from Moon. Envy blinks again. Over. Down to 28. Notal's coming in. The Shards will finally catch out the anti-mage. No buyback available, but at least makes OG work for it.
And Secret, they're really running out of steam. This was the one hero they could kind of hold on to in Eternal Envy, who got 4 kills early. Since then, he's got 1 assist and 2 deaths. His farm is still all right, but with the rest of his team dying as much as they have, there's so much weight on his shoulders, and there is no alternative for Secret than to play this game on the back of Envy. With how much they've lost.
Miracle. He's found him. Sentry Ward's down. There's nowhere to hide. Misery is thinking about a jump over the EMP, though he needs to wait till it's over. As Miracle tossed up, Highlight Eye, they cut their losses. They let him go, while Moon goes for the Shards over on Puppy, won't lock him in. He'll be able to back up.
Puppy should be very happy to get locked in there.
Radiant's
That was
top tower is under
definitely
attack.
a bonus kill for OG, should it have landed.
What do you think about this build coming up on the Queen of Pain? We've got Weeha going into an Orchid. Normally that's an item we see when you look for momentum, which they're losing time and time again. Misery, this is going to be an easy kill on this top. Maybe a little bit harder when those Mass Serpent Wards go down. And Moon, well, he just snowballs through it. Mass Serpent Wards very defensive. Crit, they've got control over on him for now. While the Shackles, that's not going to do enough. Crit will end up dying. Tornado keeping Team Secret away from responding to the 3-man gang squad that came behind the tier 2 tower. Weeha still wants to go for more, but they've lost their anti-mate. The snowball protection grabs the Invoker up to Weeha. They got another punch, not available. Weeha blinked himself away to safety. Further away from Highlight Eye and away from the safety of the walls, but the EMP will burn Highlight Eye down. He gets one last toss out, but he'll die over on the side tree line. Weeha, the sole survivor again. Team Secret always left with one man to tell the tale of how OG killed them.
And Envy just lost so much armor from the weave over time. The Walrus Punch dealt like 400 damage to him there from Moonmeander toward the end. He was not ready for that. Now Weehaw getting Orchided out.
He blinked down, he wanted to grab that courier. Now he's blinked. Not only is it on cooldown, but he's Orchided by the Invoker. The tier 2 tower will drop as well. And OG, their lead extends over 12,000 net worth, almost 14,000 experience. And there are very few bumps in the road. Team Secret have managed to plateau it a couple of times, but that's lasted a very short period of time. And now, OG is investment time. Aegis the Immortal to come their way.
They have just taken so many good fights, especially very impressed by the Invoker and the Tusk from Miracle and Moonmeander respectively. Just set up so many fights. I think Snowball might have been the spell of the tournament, honestly. If you look over the course of the entirety of this event, just so many incredible snowballs that just salvage the fight. It turns the fight from a loss into a big win. I think there's 2 team fights here where OG, instead of losing 2 heroes, just kill 4 with the use of 1 spell perfectly. You just gotta respect this Tusk from OG, regardless of whether it's Crit or Moon playing it.
Especially when Secret, like, they made the choice to give Moon this farm. When they run a one-on-one lane on the top, you understand this Tusker can not only find levels, but he'll find his initiating items. Now he's actually got his utility arriving too, having the full Greaves available for the Tusker, plus a Blink Dagger, and we're 25 minutes in. For what is still farm-wise, the 3rd position for OG.
They gotta protect Envy. I know I've said it a lot of times, but
they're using him as bait.
You can't really do anything else. I want to say to a large extent that Secret have kind of dug themselves into a hole. I really loved that last pick AM, but they have been fighting way too much, really allowing OG to play their game.
He sees Puppey moving. He came up, Puppey's just like, I don't know, I think I felt a cold, stiff breeze on the back of my neck, and Crit hiding him in the tree line. He's still got his Blink Dagger available, and Puppey, he's not sure about this, but Crit, he's basically made himself a pen. There's no way Puppey sees his side of this. And the chance of Misery blinking in there is almost nothing. Those wings don't even extend out.
Have we mentioned that Crit is level 15 on a Wyvern?
We have not. Have we mentioned how awesome Crit is?
The supports on the side of OG are level 13 and 15. They're the same level or higher than the Queen of Pain. Dazzle has actually also got more experience than her, so both of them, such a big XP lead. And it's just the involvement of everyone on Team OG. They've got so many assists on every single hero apart from No-Tail, just because these heroes have been bunching up and taking incredibly good fights. Now the Manta style finally comes out from Envy. With a 15-minute Battle Fury, he's not satisfied with taking 11 minutes to farm up a Manta without a Vlad's along the way.
You've got one as well for No-Tail. Fly was just carrying the recipe for a while. That's actually what Envy pinged out previously. He pinged the Dazzle with that item on him.
They're neck and neck on farm right now. The AM and the PL have the exact same net worth. You go back 10 minutes, Envy was ahead by 2,500 and a battle.
Middle lane, they're going on Puppey. That avalanche buys a little bit of space, but Puppey will still die to the Orchid. There's nothing that can save him from this. So another kill coming the way of the Miracle Invoker. And he's getting even more. And Puppey, at least he spent his money before death, almost finishing this Yule Scepter of his.
I think the next step for OG is to get a gem and just counter all the wards. I'm a little bit surprised they haven't bought one yet, considering how far ahead they are. Fly will have the money for it in a moment. Actually, do they have a gem? They just counter 2 wards, or did those wards expire? It looks like
there's no gem. There's no gem on OG.
They just expired. So
actually, they do have one. It's sitting back in the fountain at the moment.
All right, so they do. Yeah, they have one.
Yeah, so they got rid of it. Bottom lane. The attack is coming from OG into the tier 3 towers. They move forward to see Pylai die. Meanwhile, up on the top lane, Envy will finish off that tier 2 tower. So it ends up being a trade. In fact, a Secret gonna dodge this completely and go for a trade-off. It may be a bit of a race, as now Puppey, the Mass Serpent will drop. The Snowball will ensure the kill on the Shadow Shaman as they mop up the Mass Serpent for the tier 3 tower. Secret are working on. The TPs will come back. The curse on Weehaw. It doesn't catch out Envy, however. Misery will go for the crush. He doesn't have space to get back out of here. As OG, they'll get a double kill into the Invoker. They protect their tier 3 tower, and they wipe the entire bottom rack. Secret just don't push fast enough. Is Moon coming back in? He's coming back in. He's looking at Pylai die. Pylai feeling he's got all the space in the world to farm, and with the Dazzle heal, That's just...
Such a good read from OG
Envy,
that they can get that kill.
He blinked forward. He's blinked into Moon as well as Fly. The Shadow Wave's there, but he'll blink up, but Moon's still with him. Walrus punches in 2 seconds time. Envy trying to fight this one, but Moon losing his man. The Mana Voice are enough. He got the Greaves off in time, and Envy still doing some work. The Shackle's keeping Fly out. There's no Shadow Grave available. Now it's back up as well, so heal from Fly, but Puppy, this may be the fight to end it. The Sunstrike keeper coming in looking for the pop, and well, it doesn't get close enough, but it doesn't matter. OG, they have taken control of the Team Secret base. No Tiny, no Shaman, Envy's not ready to fight, and they'll probably even lose the mid-ranks at this rate.
Yeah, this game is pretty much over right now. They can't defend these barracks whatsoever, and I don't even think they can defend top if there are 5 heroes remaining. In the situation Secret are in, 5-on-5s are unwinnable, and they have no options to split push and force back OG right now with the current position. Oh well, they do have a tier 2 tower top. I guess that's their saving grace for now.
At the same time, OG could just go for the GG push if they can get 1 pick on Secret, but there's no reason to take that risk. You're in a grand final. You're staring down the barrel of being 1 game up in a best of 5 against Team Secret.
25,000 golden experience lead, minute 29. One of the bigger leads of the tournament at this point in time.
It's huge. Team Secret, it is going to be a, it's a huge mountain to climb.
I think this might be the first game of the tournament where every hero on a team is 5-digit net worth at minute 30. Fly is just above the 10K, so now pulling way ahead of the enemy mid laner.
He's also picked up so many kills. He's making it more difficult as well for Secret to get a handle on this game, because it looks like he's also got that plate mail. So how do you even kill off the Dazzle? He's giving everyone armor. He's got armor himself, and if this game keeps going, he may even just finish up the OG signature Lotus Orb.
And the key play for OG, I think Lotus Orb plays really well into the way they play in general as a team. This game has been one big bait fest. They want Secret to go on them so they can turn around, use their defensive cooldowns very well, the Cold Embrace, the Snowball, the Shallow Grave, all the heals. And Secret keep taking the bait and keep trying to fight them, looking at the map, and they're like, oh, we could get this kill. He's out alone. He's never alone. There's always backup there from OG. They move together very well as one unit.
And they're coming as one unit through the top. The mid and the bottom will take care of itself. They've got super creeps pushing in through those lanes. Chris even staring down the barrel of a refresher orb on this Wyvern. There's so much money on OG. And while we've seen Envy do a lot, look where Secret are. This is kind of telling you the tale of the game right now. They have got 4 heroes hiding inside their well. Pilot A is the only one forward. This almost baits like they're doing a smoke maneuver. The Invoker is inching his way forward. He sees Pylai die, and Team Secret, there goes your Hex. Secret, they kind of, well, they're not even going to respond. They just let the Tiny die.
They want Tiny to go out and find someone and toss him to the fountain and just lock him up and blow him up.
Is that the only dream? Have we actually come back to the point where we're almost looking at fountain hooking?
What?
The old classic Puppy way?
Secret. What?
They're letting it go. They've got no choices.
There's no time rating in a grand final, Secret.
There is not. Maybe they're also buying time just to talk this out, because right now things have just gotten completely out of control. OG again the Megas, and OG, like, it's gifted. There's just nothing else coming. They're not calling the game. OG now have Mega creeped as Secret. The Tiny's up in 6 seconds. They can fight as 5, but that's going to be it. In fact, they just call it before the Tiny is up. GG. OG will take game number 1 against Team Secret, who forfeited AFK inside their fountain. What a start.
Instead of calling GG right away, of course, the moment they call GG, they go out the booth, break time starts. This is the same as taking a timeout, basically, and just getting a little extra time to talk through the game. They do call GG in the end, though, instead of letting OG end the game, so it seems like, okay, they got the key points across that they wanted before their break. And to me, the key point has got to be, why do we keep fighting them? Why do we keep looking for these kills against a team that has so many good defensive abilities when our lineup is tailored around AM getting big farm? I'm really curious about what the panel thinks, because to me, Secret fought way too much in this game.
They kind of did. At the same time, they're forced to, because the Tiny didn't find levels. They completely interrupted. It's almost like OG already understood what Secret were going to do coming into this game. But, of course, we'll see if the panel agree with us. Let's throw it back over to Red and the boys.
Thank you very much, Toby.